Hey friends, this is another engraving video to help you guys. If you're wondering why you need legendary engravings, wondering why people are going crazy over legendary engravings, want to understand when it's a good time to buy a legendary engraving book or sell them, this video is for you. Viewers in my stream were asking me about legendary engravings, and some stressed out that they're frustrated they will never be able to buy them. What legendary engraving book does is it passively gives you 12 diamond nodes. Therefore, you only need to cover 3 diamond nodes from somewhere else to get a level 3 engraving. If you happen to read 2 legendary engraving books, you would have a passive 24 diamond nodes to work around with. You can only equip 2 passive engravings through books. Let's quickly go over what attributes provide diamond nodes. You have those 2 passive books up to 12, and you have an ability stone fauceting up to 9/9 and penalty up to 9. You have 5 accessories to work around with. Max Legendary provides 3/3 and a penalty 1/2. Understanding this is very important to plan out your builds because you will need to make builds that have more than 2 engravings. On a side note for accessories, those of you wondering what is more important between combat stats and engravings, combat stat is way more important, especially for classes that require high spec like Gunlancer or Deathblade. Let's go over how you should build your engravings. First, if you happen to read up to the purple books, you have plus 9 nodes. You can actually equip 2 of these for plus 18, which is an automatic level 3 engraving. You can use ability stones and accessories for the rest of the engravings. Majority of the early stage people do this for class engravings because it saves the most money. If you use this method, you will not have to buy accessories that have the class engravings on the auction house. Since you can't have class engravings on a stone, you can also have something like plus 9 grudge passive book and faucet a grudge stone, hoping for a plus 6 for a level 3 grudge in total. As I mentioned in the progression video, having 3 level 3 engravings is good enough. Having 4 is almost impossible due to limitation of the released content, like accessories only give 3/3 engravings. So having 2 9s in a class engraving, using a stone and accessories for the other 2 engravings is the right way to work on a proper 3/3/3 engraving build. And also, having a legendary engraving book doesn't really help to make 4 3s, because you would need at least a 6/6 stone with all legendary accessories being with 3/3 with the right combat stat. This sounds very expensive in the NA market. If you increase your engraving number, for example from 2 3s to 3 3s, on average you increase about 14 to 16% in DPS. Some of you may think after hearing this, because 3 3s are expensive enough, but 4 3s is actually even more expensive. Does it really justify the cost of 14 to 16% DPS increase? After what I've seen in the NA market, it actually does not justify for you to have a 3/3 on a current state of the updates. So you will need to watch out on buying legendary engraving books, because it might be a waste of gold at the current state of the update. Here's an example of a proper 3/3/3 build, which is valid till 14/15. Let's say you're a Deathblade and want Supercharge, Remaining Energy, and Grudge. You put 9/9 on Remaining Energy for level 3 Remaining Energy. You proceed to buy Supercharge and Grudge Stone, which will be pretty expensive in NA. But if you cut the stone decently, you can equip or buy any accessories that have Supercharge and Grudge. If you happen to finish this with proper combat stats, you're pretty much good to go till 14/15. Let's try another similar example. You read legendary remaining energy or supercharge. Let's say you read remaining energy for now. Put that into the price calculation. That will put you to 12 on remaining energy and 9 on supercharge. You would still buy a grudge and supercharge stone to cut. If you happen to be lucky and get plus 6 on supercharge, you're in great shape because you'll have level 3 supercharge. Now you need 3 nodes on remaining energy and few nodes on grudge depending on the stone cut to work with through accessories. Try calculating all the options yourself, searching through the auction house, because there are so many combinations that can utilize and cherry pick to get a better build going. So I've been mentioning 14/15 a lot, so why is 14/15 so important? This is when you start seeing orange relic accessories. This is when accessories get 5 and a 3, which means it'll be significantly easier to achieve 4 3s without reading a legendary engraving book. Since your accessories deliver 5/3 and stones being up to 10/10, this means if you have a 7/7 stone, you only need 2 5/3 accessories to get 2 level 3 engravings. This timing is when people invest into 4 level 3 engravings. This still happens in the Korean server, because it is more realistic to build it and you still not need a legendary engraving book to make your build realistic. Then when do you actually buy a legendary book? If you have 1 legendary engraving book, plus all 5/3 accessories and a 7/7 stone, this will give you 5 3s, a recommended setup for raids like Kakao Seidon in 1475, which is months away from now. 5 3s is a respectful final build. To this day, I still use the same accessories I bought from 4 months ago after building up my 5 3s. In short summary, before going into example, you must calculate how much each diamond nodes cost. To give an example calculation, I will compare it to the Korean market as usual. It is important for you to do this exercise yourself, utilizing the auction house in your server. because you will never know someone will sell you something very cheap. Now let's say I have Legendary Grudge, which is plus 12 notes. I will need 1 plus 3 Grudge with a valid plus 5 accessory. If I don't have Legendary Grudge, I will need 3 plus 5 Grudge with a valid plus 3 accessories. If I do the simple calculation, making my valid second engraving being Cursed Doll or something, obviously the 3 Grudge accessories are cheaper. But what happens if you increase the number of characters? Since Grudge is a universal engraving that every class uses in the endgame, the more characters you have, the more gold you save from the Legendary book due to buying only 1 Grudge accessory. This is why I focused on reading Legendary Grudge in the beginning of the game to properly set up 20 of my alt characters at minimum 5/3 engravements at a decent price. So if you're ever trying to think of buying a Legendary engraving, it's crucial for you to think a little bit further to see if you can get the investment back. On a side note, this is why some people have multiple same class alts. They can share engravings. You need to understand the bigger picture on why you need the Legendary engravings. An exercise I recommend is to create a spreadsheet with simple calculations. It really helps you to have a bigger picture planning your builds. I've been always using this myself, so feel free to copy and use it. I've copied it to my Lostark notes. It'll be in the description. So this wraps up the talk. Thanks again. Bye.